So this is way late, but hello everybody. Throughout the course of June and July, I was posting videos for Pride Month Art Challenge 2023. I did finish the challenge on the day, on June 30th, but yeah, events happened in my life that kind of delayed it, like being sick and other things. So that just, yeah. But here we are now, July 30th, an exact month after the fact, but here we are. So let's get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 1, Label Transgender. It's Madeline from Celeste. Starting off this wonderful month is Madeline from Celeste, and this is a game that people have been talking about for ages, and eventually this year I got into it, and there's one thing you should know about Celeste. This game is difficult, and it's not unbearably difficult either. It's much more fun kind of difficult. It's basically a platforming game where your timing has to be on point to get through all these levels and whatever. Safe to say, I love it. It's such a good game. I love it. From the art style to the characters to whatever, Celeste is a fun game and I can't wait to beat it. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 2, Label Bisexual. It's Moxie from Hell of a Boss. Originally, I was going to do Blitz for this spot to finish the pairing with him and Stolas, because I drew him last year. But thinking about it a lot more, I just wanted to draw Moxie much more, because as a character, I think he's probably my favorite character in the entire show, besides the aforementioned Stolas, because he's great. Also, it made sense to draw him because back in October, I drew Invader Zim, and once again, I mentioned back then that Richard Horvitz voiced not only him, but also Moxie as well. And he seems to be the most sensible one of the group, because Blitz is very reckless, Luna's got huge anger problems, and Millie seems to be having way too much fun with her job, which is killing people. Overall, it was fun to draw him, and through all the hardships he went through, this man deserves a hug. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 3, Label Lesbian. It's Amity from the Owl House. Here I go again, gushing about one of the greatest animated shows of all time. And now that this show is over, I can say with confidence that it capped off in a great way. Loved it. And now it's been a couple of months almost at this point, which, Jesus. We get to look back on the huge development Amity has gotten throughout the entire show. Like, she started off being very vain and spoiled and whatever, being a rival originally to both Luz and Willow and the rest of the heroes in the show. Eventually, though, she would lighten up and eventually become a huge ally to the entire squad, even to the point where it may not be just friendship.
So, who did you want to ask out? Oh, it's not important.
Oh, shit! Yeah, to say that reveal blew up the internet would be an understatement. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 4, Label Pansexual and Gender Fluid. It's Loki from Marvel. This is why I love doing these Pride Month Art Challenges, because when you research this stuff, you don't know who's gonna pop up at a certain time. Like, Loki came as a complete surprise when researching for the whole challenge. I'm just gonna go out and say it. Fuck Thanos. Loki is the best villain to come out of the Marvel movies. I don't care what people say. From his seemingly endless charisma to his snappy dialogue, Loki is just perfect. And he still is responsible for the funniest scene in any Marvel movie.
Enough! You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature. And I will not be bullied by that. Puny god.
Pride Month Art Challenge Part 5, Label Bisexual. It's Alphys from Undertale. I'm gonna confess something right off the bat. I have never finished Undertale. The thing with Undertale is this game fumbles with your emotions more than Josh Allen is with a football, so you are kind of screwed a lot of the time. Like, for example, me accidentally killing Undyne, so you can imagine how my experience went with this game. I wanted to have a mental break with that game that went from 1 week to a month to a year to 5 years. I really should play the game again. Anyway, let's talk about the scientist herself, Alphys. Being the official royal scientist to the King Asgore, who she may or may not have a huge crush on, so we'll get to that later. Who also has a crush on Undyne, the person I fucking murked! She's also responsible for creating the everybody's favorite show host slash JoJo character. She's also responsible in the creation of abominations that are maybe, sorta, definitely suffering, so we also got that. I guess that's all I can say about Weeb Dinosaur. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 6. Label Agender. It's Mewtwo from Pokemon. You're probably asking yourselves the same question. A Pokemon? And to that I say, yes. I mean, a Pokemon that's literally genderless would technically count under this label. Also, may I add that, after that recording, I got into work and air quality went so horribly after that time being, so the rest of this recording is gonna sound a little different. So why am I choosing Mewtwo and not my favorite Pokemon in all of existence, aka the pinnacle of perfection that is Reshiram? Well, I just decided to go with a more iconic Pokemon. One that I can kick ass in Smash with, and the one that made the coolest fucking villain in the first Pokemon movie, which I haven't seen in over 10 years, 15 years, so you bet I'm gonna rewatch it eventually. This is gonna sound a lot worse because, surprise, I got sick from the fucking smoke. Surprise. Fuck. Alright, Pride Month Art Challenge Part 7. Label Lesbian. It's Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time. Out of anybody on this entire list, people debate about what specifically Princess Bubblegum is. People try to argue that when she was turned into the kid and was temporarily with Finn, she would be bisexual, but I think that's more down to her being a child and fully not realizing that she was completely lesbian, because she never actually had a real relationship with a guy in the entire show, and the only person we know she's dated was Marceline, so there you go. Of course, I had to choose a character with a simple design, because I don't know if I could draw a complicated character while sick. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 8. Label Gay. It's Snorpy from Bugsnax. This is such an underrated game, oh my god. I love this charming little game where you capture little food creatures and you eat them and become them. Oh my god. Anyway, this game has a whole lot of characters to go off of, and why not finish the pair with him and Chandlo by drawing Snorpy, because last year I drew Chandlo, the absolute madman himself. I do really like his storyline where he kind of can't really tell Chandlo how he feels, and the funny thing is, he's completely unaware with the fact that they kind of already were a thing for a long time. He just never really realized it. And Chandlo is kind of not exactly the guy who can express love. He treats him like a bro, so I can understand his confusion. I know with these art challenges, I'm going to be drawing Bugsnax characters a lot. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 9. Label Non-Binary Arrow Ace. It's Peridot from Steven Universe. Peridot is so freaking cute. Oh my god, she's so adorable. I love this tiny little green gremlin thing. She's so unimaginably tiny, and her voice is so adorable. It's got me like...
You got such a cute little baby voice.
What do you think? You look like a square.
It's a rectangle.
She's not only adorable, but she's also incredibly funny. From her many, many funny quotes, or the very, very random noises she occasionally spits out that are always funny. Also, like the previously mentioned Amity, she was also a huge enemy against the cast of Steven Universe before eventually, again, becoming an ally and, again, became fucking amazing in the show. So, you know, you got that. I love Peridot, and I'm glad to have drawn her. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 10. Label Gay. It's Bowie from the newest season of Total Drama Island. After what felt like an eternity, Total Drama is back. And after watching it all the way through, I can say with confidence that this is the best Total Drama season we've had in a long time. And my favorite character in the whole show was definitely Bowie. I won't spoil what happens in the show because, as of right now, the newest Total Drama season hasn't even aired in the United States. I was able to watch it through other means, and considering how long it was since the last Total Drama season, I blasted through the whole thing in one shot. Teletoon has actually been really good at representing gay characters in their shows since 2010 with Gene in 16, and they really represented Bowie really well. Bowie is just genuinely entertaining and great. Like, he's so funny. It's awesome. So yeah, watch the new Total Drama when it comes out. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 11. Label Bisexual. It's Harley Quinn from DC Comics. Harley Quinn is one of those characters with the most interesting of origins because she wasn't introduced in any comic. She was actually made for Batman the Animated Series. Over time, she became easily one of the most popular characters in DC over time. And also is probably a DC character with the most growth over her span because first she was originally the partner to Joker, love interest, whatever. Then after realizing how horrible he's been treating her, she left, became not really a villain, and then eventually would become a girlfriend to Poison Ivy. Also, it's just kind of funny that she's immune to Poison Ivy's kiss because of the vat of acid she went through, so they're a perfect match. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 12. Label Asexual. It's SpongeBob SquarePants. I know. You guys are scratching your heads at what I'm telling you, but it's canon from the late creator himself. And now since I've ripped off that bandage, let's talk about how, even as an adult, I still think SpongeBob is great. Sure, it's definitely no Zim or Avatar, but come on, this show is an absolute classic and gives some of the most memorable lines in any cartoon out there.
You okay, Patrick?
Finland!
And at the same time, gives us freeze frames like this.
Ew, that's disgusting!
But yeah, I've had a long history with this show ever since I was a little kid, and I've only seen actually one of the movies. I know there's 3 of them. I should check them out, and I guess this is my excuse to check them out anyway, so we'll see what happens. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 13. Label Transgender. It's Bridget from Guilty Gear. Quick confession, I have never played this game or any of the other games in the franchise, but I wanted to bring Bridget into this conversation because last year there was this huge announcement that, yes, verifying to everybody that Bridget was indeed transgender, and a lot of fanboys fucking cried about it, and I was laughing all the way. They were complaining like, oh, they're not transgender, they're androgynous, it's always been that way. Shut the fuck up. It was one of the most pathetic yet funniest things to come out of last year, seeing all these nerds complain. But now let's get on to a little bit of things. I love her design, and I love the bear she has around with her, and her yo-yo. That's also really cool. So yeah, I'm happy to have drawn Bridget. Or as some fans would say, brisket. This isn't a joke, by the way. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 14. Label Asexual. It's Perry the Platypus from Phineas and Ferb. Okay, yeah, I know. I'm laughing too, but it's canon. It is canon. Look right there. That's it. That's him saying it right there. For anybody who grew up watching Phineas and Ferb, let's be real for a second. We didn't watch Phineas and Ferb for Phineas and Ferb. We watched it for Perry facing off against Dr. Doofenshmirtz. Because that is always infinitely more fun than the invention shenanigans that Phineas and Ferb would do. It's not the fact that, they're not entertaining, it's just the fact that I just have a lot more fun with Doof and Perry. It's just easy to love it. Also, because I was falling behind on days for the art challenge, I think just having a simpler character design is more welcome during this time. So yeah, here's Perry. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 15, Label Lesbian. It's Kelsey from BoJack Horseman. There's not much I can really say about this one because mentioning at least a little bit of her would be huge spoiler territories, but I'll try my best. Basically, in the show, BoJack is portraying his childhood hero, Secretariat, in a movie, and she's the director of it. And yeah, that's really all I want to say about that. I do like how she works off a lot of these characters, especially with Todd, who probably is one of the funniest dynamics that the show's ever given.
Tasting. Oh, sorry. Hey, who's this guy? Who let this guy in?
I just,
He's got a real funny face. I like your face, guy.
Thank you.
What a cute, funny face. You want a cookie? Can someone
okay.
get this guy a cookie? Got a very soothing face, and I like looking at it. It's like a Matisse painting.
Whoa. I do miss BoJack Horseman a lot, and the simplest things in the show are still continuously charming. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 16, label pansexual. It's Gumball from the amazing world of Gumball. Finishing the trifecta of randomly canon characters you would not expect to be on this list. Yeah, Gumball. One thing to note, like when rewatching Gumball as an adult, makes me realize that, wow, Gumball was a real asshole. Yeah, you kind of forget how self-centered this guy is, or how, he regularly ruins lives on the daily. Now that we're done talking about him himself, let's just talk about the show and why it's easily one of Cartoon Network's funniest shows. I mean, you can't tell me it's not one of the funniest shows with stuff like this.
Never come back.
Or what?
Pride Month Art Challenge Part 17, label pansexual. It's Jackie Lynn Thomas from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Man, what a mouthful. Fun fact, I'm way behind on these videos, and also, I was watching Atlantis the Lost Empire while recording this, and yeah, banger movie, 9 out of 10, absolutely love it. I've mentioned in the past about Star vs. and how it was one of the biggest examples of a show that went up and up and up and straight the hell down. Yeah, no joke, no matter who you talk to, if they have watched Star vs., they will absolutely talk about how awful this show ended. And yeah, not gonna lie, yeah, it did. To quickly summarize what I remember from Jackie, she was originally meant to be kind of the love interest to Marco, and then much later on in the show, she would eventually find her own girlfriend, and yeah, that we all cheered for that. So yeah, Jackie. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 18, label gay. It's Angel Dust from Hazbin Hotel. After day 2 with Hell of a Boss, I finally get to talk about the beloved pilot from YouTube, Hazbin Hotel. And while most people say Alistair is the best character, and who can blame them, he's great, Angel is my ultimate favorite. From his snappy dialogue to his unbelievable design, can I just talk about that for a second? That's sick as hell. Or to his iconic voice, in which the studio who bought the series decided to kick him out. Which is quite sad because Michael's a perfect human being, and I'm sad that his voice doesn't get to be a part of the main series. And again, I must have to mention the dialogue again because he really works off the characters well, although I have to censor the clip that I'm about to show you.
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can
Ha! No.
Overall, Hazbin's a really great pilot, and I highly recommend you watching it. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 19, labeled non-binary, it's Lake from Elemental. So yeah, I did see Elemental, and to my surprise, and to most other people's surprise, the movie wound up being really good. And as soon as I heard about Lake and them being non-binary, as soon as I finished the movie, I went and immediately drew them. I'm just going to immediately ignore the fact that they had little to no screen time because, you know, Disney being the phony corporate garbage that it is, and fake supporting the LGBT community while also scrapping the Owl House after 3 years for being, you know, yeah. Rather, I'll talk a little bit about my experience with drawing the water because these character designs are a lot more fluid and out there, so making a pose and coloring it was a lot of fun, and guess what? It wound up working. So yeah, I recommend watching Elemental anyway because it's really good. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 20, label agender, it's French Fry from Chicken Nugget. Yet another case of I drew their partner last year, and now it's time to draw them. It's the Magic Dragon themselves. Yeah, that's exactly how you pronounce their name. No, I'm not saying it wrong. This is how every character in this show is spelt with their names. It's corrupted, cutesy ways to say certain foods. Like cheeseburger, chicken nugget, sody pop. or ice cream. This show is my driving force every week. Considering they post 3 shorts a week, I kind of owe it to them that they're my driving force every week, so I've owned a few things chicken nugget related. For example, like right now, I'm wearing a chicken nugget t-shirt. Hey look, there's French fry. So thank you guys for that. Also congrats Chicken on coming out as Pan. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 21, labeled bisexual, it's Pam from Archer. Quick confession I would like to get out of the way right now. I used to hate Pam so much. To explain her character best in the early stages of Archer, she used to be the character that once one little secret comes out, all of a sudden everybody knows about it. She always talks her mouth about everything, and she was kind of actually just really annoying. Although as time went on and the writers gave her a lot better lines and whatnot, she went from being one of the most annoying characters ever to actually one of the funniest characters in the entire show. And I'm still thinking about when they first announced that she was bisexual, and she did it in the funniest way too.
I wasn't eye-banging her.
Man, I was.
Ugh.
What? Jeez, I'm only human.
So yeah, I think this show is still an absolute classic. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 22, labeled transgender. It's Raoul from Wendell and Wild. Okay, this has to be mentioned again. Wendell and Wild is unbelievably underrated and beautifully animated. I don't know how I can express how I feel about Raoul without spoiling a lot of the movie's story, but I'll try my best. To put it in perspective, he is a very, very talented artist who befriends Kat, the girl who I drew back in February, and while being very shy and kind of sensitive, would be basically the ride or die for anybody. And that's mainly all I can really say about Raoul. I will say that I love this movie's art style. You could see on the left and the right, there's the flat drawings that the artist, character designer for this movie is very abstract style, and it translates beautifully in 3D. So yeah, watch Wendell and Wild. It's barely been marketed on Netflix, so yeah, go and do it. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 23, label lesbian. It's Tracer from Overwatch. Oh joy, technology. Ugh. As I've mentioned in my last art challenge, technology isn't my strong suit in terms of drawing, and it does take a substantial amount of time. And that's why I dreaded drawing Tracer, to the point where I didn't even draw her last year, even though she was a consensus to draw her. But she wound up getting skipped last year. But now here we are. In terms of my history with Overwatch, I played it for a couple of months when I first got the game, and then I stopped for years. Eventually, though, apparently it became free on console, labeled as quote-unquote Overwatch 2, I picked it up again, and Tracer wasn't really a main of mine. It was Sombra for the most part, but Tracer is fun enough. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 24, my birthday, label bisexual, it's the great Giovanni Potage from Epithet Erased. I fucking adore this show so much. This guy has become easily one of my favorite characters in this whole show for one thing and one thing only. Well, he is a person who wants to be a villain. That's kind of his main goal. There's just one thing. He absolutely sucks at it. And when he meets Molly in the museum, he grows a huge fondness towards the kid and honestly becomes a brother figure and way better parental figure than her douchebag father. Seriously, ask any Epithet Erased fan and think of the one character they hate. It's this absolute menace of a human being. Fuck you, Martin. I have to say again, watch the show. It's only 3.5 hours long, and I'm gonna link it in the description. Okay, thank you, bye! Pride Month Art Challenge Part 25, labeled bisexual, it's Lorraine from Atomic Blonde. I'm not gonna lie in saying this is one of my emergency characters that I'd throw in, just in case if I was running out of time that day. Yeah, she was a prime example. That's why I wound up drawing Lorraine, because pretty simplistic, all things considered, when you just have the simple dress suit, simple hair, the sunglasses, blank expression. It just kind of works. Honestly, I have barely a recollection of this movie. I remember really enjoying it when it first came out, and 5 years later, yeah, I haven't seen it since. But I'll check it out eventually again, maybe on a YouTube short format. What I do remember is that the action was really good, and I think Lorraine was pretty compelling as a character. I do need to rewatch it to remember more of it, but you know what? Underrated, I guess. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 26, label gay. It's Gobber the Belch from How to Train Your Dragon. I remember the exact day this was announced, when Gobber was officially gay. Basically, for anybody who hasn't seen the How to Train Your Dragon movies, in part 2, Gobber was talking with Hiccup about Hiccup's parents and their marriage troubles going on, and this is what he had to say.
This is why I never married. This and one other reason.
When people asked the director of the movie what he meant by that, the director came out and said, "My boy right here is gay," and everybody was celebrating. I don't think I remember hearing any real negative backlash towards Gobber being gay, which is a rare occasion, and you know what? I'm all for it. Two things I'd like to mention about Gobber is, one, he's voiced by Craig Ferguson. I absolutely love that guy. And two, I thought it was going to be absolute hell to draw, and while it kind of was, I'm actually surprised on how it turned out. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 27, labeled bisexual. It's Korra from The Legend of Korra. Flack me all you want, but I have not seen The Legend of Korra yet. I'm a huge fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but for some reason, I did not check out The Legend of Korra when it first came out, and still to this day, I still haven't seen a single episode of the show, although I heard it was great as well. I've heard a lot about the show's strengths and all the good stuff in it, like the writing, the animation, Asami, and the fight scenes. It's all there. The only reason why I think I dodged this show for so long was because of the show's release. It was 2012, around the time when like Regular Show, Adventure Time, Gumball, they were all getting really great, and not to mention that the shows on Nickelodeon were slowly getting worse and worse and worse. I had to bail. Korra just wound up being the thing I didn't wind up watching because it was a little late. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 28, label gay. It's Ethan from Strange World. Hey look, it's the Disney movie that they barely marketed because their character's gay. Oh joy. They lost a lot of money off of it because they were being stupid and they decided just not to market it. And after seeing the movie myself, okay, it's fine, but still, man, they really sabotaged this movie badly. Sure, I can talk about how this movie's plot is basically Treasure Planet meets a Goofy movie and how other generic tropes just get squished in there. It's just kind of annoying. I will say that I'm actually happy that Disney even allowed that this kind of representation could be made. But the way they sabotaged this movie and lost all that money, I don't think it was worth it in the very end because, man, there was a lot of shit that they just lost in that whole ordeal. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 29, labeled bisexual. It's Blake from Ruby. Confessing off the bat, this is another emergency character. I haven't seen this show since mid-high school, so my memory of the show is completely shot. What I do remember from this show, she is the B in Team Ruby, spelled R-W-B-Y, alongside Ruby, Weiss, and my personal favorite, the smartass Yang. She was also known to be the quiet reader type of the group, and being born into a society of human-like people with animal traits like ears and tails or whatnot, they are being treated like second-class citizens, and Blake is always there to stand up for the rights of those people. Sorry for the shorter episode, but again, my memory's shot about this show, so you weren't going to expect much out of this one. I've been waiting so long for this. Pride Month Art Challenge Part 30, label lesbian and gender fluid, it's Nimona. This movie was so damn amazing! For those not in the loop, Fox was bought out by Disney, and Fox had Blue Sky, an animation studio known for Ice Age and the Peanuts movie and Rio and Robots, under their umbrella. Unfortunately, one of the first actions Disney did was immediately call for the shutdown of Blue Sky, and with it, their current film in the making, Nimona, was going to be shut down. And people immediately called out Disney because of the LGBTQ representation this movie was going to provide, and it was going to be a wide-stream release. After over a year, it was announced that it was getting picked up by Netflix, and we got a release for June 30th, 2023, and it absolutely delivered. It was amazing. What an amazing way to cap off the month. And there we have it. My Pride Month Art Challenge 2023. Thank you guys for watching through the entirety of the whole thing, and I'll see you guys in October for my second month of villains. Bye!